Namaste. My name is Preity Upala, and I am a global thought leader and a multimedia personality. Welcome to my podcast, The Preity Experience. Join me as I explore some of the most fascinating and crucial issues that affect our world today. I take a unique global perspective on these issues, and the very foundation of my insights is humanity and spirituality. I'm Preity Upala, and welcome to the Preity Experience.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on your platform. My name is Preity Upala. Thank you, BISS Tamil Nadu. Firstly, I want to congratulate everyone and wish everyone a happy Ganesh Chaturthi. This is an amazing day for us, so I hope that you all have wonderful celebrations, and I think it's perfect that we're speaking about this topic, and it happens to be Ganesh Chaturthi, the start, which is so needed, I think. So if COVID has taught us one thing, it is that to really think about the kind of world that we want to live in and the kind of powers that we want ruling it. And I think frameworks around the world have been tested during this time, and we're finding out so many things that are not working. And we're also finding out things that do work. And one of the things that absolutely has worked to a T is Sanatan Dharma. So my talk today is going to be about how Sanatan Dharma is a future framework for humanity, especially post-COVID. In some way, the whole world is becoming Sanatani. They're forced to, because of this pandemic and what it has done for the world and the life choices that we are making or forced to make as a planet, as a humanity. And it's interesting that now we're going back to these ancient traditions that have always been there. And I just wanted to go through a few things that I feel that Sanatan Dharma has given the world and will give the world in the future. And if the world adopted some of these, it would be beneficial for everybody. And in fact, I think that would be a very ideal place to be in for us. And I actually feel that we are genuinely and organically moving in that direction. But there will be a time where we're going to have, I think, sort of a tipping point of people doing it. So let's look at these things. What makes Sanatan Dharma so special? First thing, some of the effects that, or contributions to the world, especially the West. Number one, of course, meditation. The origins of all meditation is Vedic. It is Indic, it's Hindu, whatever you want to call it. From there stems many other types of meditations, but the original is Vedic, whether it's the mantra meditation or just focus, dhyana, and also mindfulness, dharana, right? So it's so important to remember that, and I think that it should really become a something that's more commonly adopted in our country, because it seems like the whole world is benefiting except India. I also feel that it's been distorted and misappropriated around a lot, and I think that we really need to claim some of this back. I hope that we haven't lost this kind of the origin of meditation forever. I hope that the world recognizes where it came from and where it still thrives, so it's upon all of us to let people know and proudly sort of showcase it and write and speak about it. I think that's very important for scholars to do that. And this is ancient Vedic technology in a way, and it's really there for the whole world to take benefit from. The next point is, of course, vegetarianism. I mean, we have been vegetarian for thousands of years, and even before, Buddhism or Jainism ever evolved, manifested in Bharat. It is a very Indic Vedic concept, ahimsa, and I think vegetarian goes hand in hand with also loving the animals and the flora and the fauna and environment. I think it's the only framework that looks at the environment at large and also our relationship with animals. So I always say that it's much better to be a dharmic vegetarian than to be a Western vegan in a way, because they don't have that reverence that we do for animals, and that mindfulness and symbiotic relationship is not there. So vegetarianism, again, I think it's such a shame that we are going to be the beef exporter in the world, or this stuff should not be happening. I don't know why the government isn't bringing in even more strict laws and mandate it so that it's banned for good, and there's better ways to maybe make an industry out of our animals and all of that, but I don't think exporting it and slaughtering it is the way to go. So I really urge people to do something about that. And yoga, of course, yoga is maybe the greatest gift that Bharat has given to the world. An estimated 50 million, I think in America alone, practice it, right? It's very popular, but again, the origins, I think there is this bifurcation happening where they're trying to separate yoga from Sanatan Dharma, and you can't separate the two because you can't separate the branch from the root. So I think it's upon people like myself, people like you, all of us to be very proud, be very vocal and clear about yoga is Hinduism in motion, it's Hinduism in practice. I think this is very, very important, and I hope that more work is done in this area. I would like to see, I wish the government of India had set up a international yoga board and have certifications that, unless they come from that board, are not valid internationally. I know we are too late to the game because America has already formulated yoga training hours and all of that. It shouldn't be coming from America, it should really be coming from India, but we are too lazy and we didn't do anything. So obviously someone picked up on it. Maybe we should set it up and contest what's already available. It's going to be some sort of a court case, I guess, but I don't know how it's going to work out. But I would urge someone to do something about this. But I'm very happy that yoga is making a comeback. I also think that it needs to be an integral part of Bharat's, our lifestyle too, because what good is it if we go on talking about it if we don't practice it ourselves? Pranayama, that's another very popular sadhana practice in the West. I mean, they call it by other names, breathing techniques, heliotropic breathing, so on, but it's pranayama. And again, this is one more thing I don't want to see leaving us. We must do what we need to do in terms of scholarship, research, reform, boards, and all of these things. I think the only way we can have some sort of agency on these is to make it formal. And for that, we do need some assistance from the government, or some institutions need to come in and sort of make it the place to get certified in pranayama and so on. Ayurveda. Now, I think Ayurveda is a little better because the best Ayurvedic training is still, I think, in India, and even in the West, the people who teach it, some are Indian, and even the Western people who teach it are very respectful and have reverence for Hindu culture and for Indian spirituality. And I think it's taught the right way. Luckily, any regulation around it still comes from India. So we have the, I guess, IP on it, but we must formalize it. Big Pharma is very excited about Ayurveda and wants to start copying these formulations and mass producing pharmaceuticals based on it. Luckily, I think some people are working on it and trying to stop it here in America, but we really need to do something. And I think in India, we need to start mass producing supplements. I know maybe Patanjali does it, but I think more companies need to do it, or maybe Patanjali needs to somehow monopolize on it in a way that you can't get a big pharma in the US try to do it. And if you need to have a lawsuit, then you must do that. But this is just, you cannot let this technology be commercialized the way that everything else is. That's simply not okay. Yoga Nidra, this is another one, which they call it lucid dreaming, but it's called Yoga Nidra. It's again part of our culture. It's not usually used by itself. It's used in conjunction or practiced in conjunction with other forms of yoga, I guess. But this is another thing that we have had for a long time, and we must again claim it and do something about it. Wonderful to see the whole world doing the Namaste. Sanskrit, I think this is something I'm personally very passionate about. I've spoken about how beautiful Sanskrit is. I think a lot of things need to be done about it. The whole world is now learning about the benefits for concentration and focus and peace, because it's primordial, it's very, very powerful. Firstly, we need to make it a part of our education system. I think at least till primary school, it must be mandatory across the country. And then after primary education, if you want to take it, maybe it's an elective, but at least a very, very basic, every Indian child moving forward should know. I think there should be more universities in India teaching it, like PhDs or MA programs or just certifications or whatever, but higher education in Sanskrit is a must. We have a few universities here in America that teach it, but it's not good enough. I think we need more Indian teachers and institutions set up in the West and also in India teaching it. This is, it's an enormous contribution to the world, because it's the mother of all languages and it's the language of the gods. So reincarnation, 15% of Americans believe in reincarnation, which is amazing. So I think more and more people, even sort of atheists and scientists, are realizing that there is more to it. And I think maybe it's on us to explain it properly to them on what it is. It just means that the soul is eternal. It never dies. The mind and the body might perish, but the soul within doesn't. And we are the soul inside the Atma, and we are not the mind. We are not the body or the mind. So I think maybe more scholarship, more work needs to be done on this. But it's amazing that more and more people are understanding about this concept of spirit. Environmental harmony. I think in our framework, this is the biggest gift I think that Sanatan Dharma can give the world in practical terms, because I think climate change and the environment, animals, these are going to be the hottest topics in the next sort of half century. And very few frameworks in the West can offer a solution. And I think honestly that even the West is failing in as far as environmental symbiosis and climate change is concerned. I think India is doing a great job. It's the leader in solar panel energy and in some other ways. I think this is amazing. Much more press needs to be, I think, around it, that we have done more than our fair bit, and maybe the West can catch up. We need to go back to the Arthashastra, because the Arthashastra is the oldest book on statecraft, the oldest book on politics and policy making, and foreign policy too. So I think we have all the knowledge. I think maybe our government, politicians, scholars, analysts should go back to the Arthashastra and see what does scripture and tradition, ancient wisdom say about foreign policy. I think that might be something that we need, because I'm not very pleased with some of the foreign policy that we have had since independence, to be honest. So maybe we could go back to the classics and see what they have to say. I read a research study recently that said that Sanatan Dharma is going to be they're saying it's the third fastest growing religion, say in the next sort of 10 years or so. And I think it could slowly come to second place, because I think the difference between the third and the second place was actually not that much. It was, I think, 5%. So we could very easily become the second fastest growing religion in the world. And I think when you look at next 50 years or so, just because of the scope of population, I think we're well placed to be probably the second, most fastest growing and biggest religious group out there, which is, I think it's only good for the world. This whole spiritual but not religious faction is increasing, and essentially they're very Indic in nature. Maybe it's time for us to somehow push them into completely accept it that they are Sanatanis, instead of just saying we're spiritual but not religious, but really they do everything Indic, but they don't say that. So maybe that final step needs to happen. That's a little bit on us too, to educate them and let them know, but also welcome them into the fold. I think there's so many people from Abrahamic religions that are leaving. Atheism is growing in the West. There's a lot of ex-Abrahamics, which is, great that they're stopping kind of following such dogmatic, rigid belief systems, and maybe just being more about Dharma. I feel that Sanatan Dharma is really a universal tradition of self-realization. It's understanding the divine and the consciousness behind the divine. It's not just a faith, but it's a Veda, it's a Vidya, a way of knowledge. And on a certain level, I think everyone in the world is a Hindu, Sanatani. And the Vedanta teaches you self-realization. This is so powerful, and this is not just about belief systems. I think it's about seeking, about questioning, about understanding the idea of consciousness through sadhana and jnana. And you have to, I think, honor the divine in life and honor knowledge. And I think there's been so many distortions that it's time that we really let the world know and educate it and correct it. I think there's a lot of corrections that needs to happen. And I feel that Sanatan Dharma promotes ecology, animal rights, natural healing, protection of indigenous cultures. I mean, this is the oldest indigenous culture and ritual and faith in the world. It's the oldest and the only goddess revering tradition in the world that must be cherished at all costs. I think that we have great thinkers in our fold, like Sri Aurobindo, Swami Vivekananda, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, Ramana Maharishi, J.D. Krishnamurti, and so many others, Paramahansa Yogananda, Sri Ravi Shankar, even Sadhguru. And we need to, I think, really promote these amazing thinkers. It's happening already, but I think we can do more. And much will happen. Because I feel that ultimately we have been here since the very beginning of time, and I think we'll be here until the very end. So Dharma, Satya is on our side, but this is Kali Yuga, and there's a lot of resistance, there's a lot of obstacles, there's a lot of avidya, and we just have to keep the faith and keep the Dharma and know that we're on the right track and that we do the right things. So I think we should just have a lot of faith. I think it's important to be patient, but to be really resilient in these times, because that's the real test. And we must assert ourselves, I think, and be proud of who we are. Everybody else does, and we have so much to be proud of. Why don't we? And it's time that we challenged some of the frameworks of the West, and also challenge the distortions propagated by the West. I think that politically we need to speak out. We need to have more political will and more of a political voice. I think this is happening in America. Hopefully, I see that happening in the future. I'll end here. I just want to thank you for having me. I know this is a short speech, but I hope that you get a lot from it. And to all the young people, I really want to say that we have such great soft power in Bharat. And really, I see in the next 50 years, Bharat will be the Vishwaguru, as it always has been for 6,000-7,000 years, if not longer. I feel that there will be amazing scholars who will finally debunk all the myths and put forward the right scholarship and research. And we need to push that. But I feel it's happening. Politically, I think we can have much more of a say and a voice. But I think the most important thing is that young people need to be proud of their culture and their belief systems and their traditions, and proudly wear it, showcase it, teach the world. And there, people like myself who write and speak on these things. I think I'd love to get your support. I'm writing a book on Shakti, so when the book comes out, I will obviously let all of you know. Please support it, please buy it, please share it, please write a review, whatever needs to be done. I think in the Indic space, we have some amazing authors, but it just needs to be more mainstream, and we have such a huge readership base. I know I've been doing all of these lectures throughout in the last 6 months, and the support that I've received is enormous, and I know that there's a lot of young kids very proud of their culture and country, and I would be honored to get your support. So I can't wait to write it, and I will push promote it and let you all know. So I know it's short, but I hope you get whatever you could from my talk. I would like to thank you so much for inviting me. Again, to the organizers, I'll just leave a few minutes for some questions. If you have any, I'll take them. So I'll just keep a lookout on the comment section. And thank you so much for people are saying superb speech, great explanation, keep going, keep it up. Thank you so much. I'm so honored. Nothing makes me happier than seeing people receive what I have to give them, and understand and appreciate. And support is so important, because I think this is we are such a huge group, but we just don't always come together, and I think it's high time that we did. So I'll just give it another minute, and then I shall take your leave. It's a very special day today, Ganesh Chaturthi. I hope that you all have a wonderful Ganesh Puja, and make sure you put up photos and circulate them. And also, of course, read the stories, because I think that's important, so that we don't get the shrap. I think that's very important. And also remember Shri Krishna too during this time. I think so many amazing things are happening with Ram Mandir and all these wonderful things. There's some more Kashi temple and the Mathura temple and all of that. I think they're all coming. It's all going to happen. I think next 5 years will be very important for India politically, and I think next 10 years will be extremely important. And I just see good things happening. I see the country coming together as one. I think we'll get our narrative together. Most importantly, we will fight the nexus around us. You know who they are. I don't have to tell you that. All right, I think I will take your leave, because it's very late here and I need to go and get some things done. So thank you again for BISS Tamil Nadu for inviting me, and for AVBP groups, student groups. Please reach out to me. I'm everywhere. I'm on Twitter at the Preity Effect. Please find me. It's Preity Effect. On YouTube, I have my own channel. Just type in Preity Upala, Preity Upala. On Facebook, I have a personal page, but I also have a public figure page, which has, I think, over 100,000 followers. Please join that. and I have all my videos and postings there. It's just Preity Upala. On Instagram, it's Preity U, the word U. And please email me. My email is missp.productions with an S at the end @gmail.com. Please contact me, ask me questions. If there are researchers amongst you, reach out. If AVBP, I need your help for my book. I really need to promote help with promotion and getting it out there and reading it and writing reviews and all that. I think this group will be the most important group for me, I think. And I want to speak at all the IITs and all the big universities, so maybe you can arrange that for me. So thank you so much. Love all of you. We just had our Independence Day. So blessed, so honored. I think we've come a long way. 75th birthday will, I think, be very, very special. So I take your leave. Namaste. Thank you so much for having me. Jai Hind. Thank you.